Okay, it's just gone through, so let's get started. Well, welcome everybody, and a big thank you for taking the time out of your days just to attend this very short webinar, Driving Software Cost Savings with Product Categorization. My name is David Chamberlain. I'm the General Manager here at License Dashboard, and it's fantastic to see the split of attendees on this webinar is so diverse geographically. So again, we really appreciate your time today, be it at the beginning or at the end of your working day. From a housekeeping perspective, you'll have all noticed you've been put on mute on entry, and that's just to eliminate any background noise. And we're going to open the chat lines at the end. Should any of you have any questions that aren't covered off during the course of this presentation, and please do feel free to make full use of the chat facility. My colleague Ben Eagling is going to be monitoring that today, and he'll alert me to any questions that do come up. Just to let you know, totally anonymous, but the session is being recorded, and of course we'll share that with you also. So please feel free to review anything that crops up during the webinar today at leisure. So what are we going to be covering off today? Well, firstly, big apologies to the 50% of attendees that are existing partners or customers and already familiar with us, but we'll be starting with a very short introduction of who we are, who License Dashboard is, what is the organization. After that, we're going to be exploring what it is we actually mean by the term product categorization, particularly within the realms of software and software asset management, and explain the importance of data governance in respect of that data classification in order to ensure our software data is catalogued in a way that not only makes it meaningful, but also crucially accessible in a predictable and consistent format. Of course, more importantly, we're going to discuss how it might benefit our businesses. As you'd expect, we will be demonstrating how we do it. It's going to be available through 3 of our platform products, but today I'm just going to be showing it in the simple reports that we'll be having within License Manager. I'll close the demo with a very brief recap and go through in more detail the different ways you can access this data through our platform. Finally, just before the closing Q&A session, we do have an exclusive free of charge offer to everyone who's in attendance today, and so I'll make that available to you and let you know what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and how you can access that offer. Okay, so License Dashboard. In our formative years, and I can barely bring myself to say the words at the turn of the century, we provided a lot of SAM consultancy under the guise of our UK sister company, Phoenix Software, a UK LSP, using just multiple tables of data, VLOOKUPs, pivot tables, and complex equations in Microsoft Excel. Indeed, when we launched our very first technological offering about 15 years ago, it was under the banner of Phoenix Dashboard. But rapid partner demand and growth saw us launch as an independent brand some 2 years later, with customers and partners quickly spanning all corners of the globe. And I'm proud to say that most of them are still with us well over a decade later on. Technological advancement and industry trends over the years have been met with development feature responses from the platform. So vendor audits, our audit-centric approach, ensures transparent results, ensuring our customers fully understand the likely outcome of a big vendor review. Things like virtualization, probably the biggest area of risk and overspend. Cloud computing, the seemingly unstoppable transformation juggernaut. And user-based licensing, the challenge of understanding what physical installs are covered by a user subscription, where the device name of the install doesn't automatically marry up with the username of the subscription. A very underestimated and time-consuming challenge without a technological solution. All great ways of demonstrating value back to our users, while at the same time managing to gain some industry recognition from the likes of KPMG, Ernst & Young, and Gartner, who last year rated as #1 for basic SAM based on our total cost of ownership. And we're also in the top 3 for intermediate and advanced SAM tools. So that's the organization. But our slogan is built by SAM professionals for SAM professionals. And one of our key USPs is that transparent, audit-centric approach we take, that the technology takes to ensure what we do and how we do it eliminates any risk of ambiguity when interpreting or reviewing the outputs. The LD platform is supported by our own in-house development team with the requirements defined by our own industry-leading SAM experts, as well as our own customer and partner base whose very mature SAM practices have had invaluable input into the tooling over the last 15 years. For those not familiar with the platform, it's typically made up of 3 key products. License Manager is the product I'm going to demonstrate later on, the SAM Consultants tool, the presentation and business intelligence layer License Dashboard Portal, and the serving function of transmitting the data from within License Manager, all of that good wholesome stuff that we're collecting from a vast variety of sources, and feeding it into other systems. The License Manager platform is tool agnostic, so whilst we do have our own dashboard discovery, our own agentless ScanWin, and partnerships with the likes of Landsweeper, we can take discovery data from other systems. We can augment it with data from advanced platforms, so ILMT BigFix for IBM, the License Application Workbench for SAP, and of course the Oracle LMS scripts. We also augment it with data from Active Directory, Azure, Office 365, and the hypervisors. It all gets cleansed, normalized, and transformed within License Manager, and we do the same work with the license record. So we look at all of the entitlement, we transform that into a clear understanding of what we're allowed to deploy so that we can compare it with what is discovered and deployed on our estate and understand shortfalls, surpluses, overspends, trends, and the like. As before, they get published through the portal. The data can be explored. The millions and millions of cells of data that's held within License Manager can get explored through the business intelligence layer. And of course, we can also transmit it into IT service management, CMDBs, and products like ServiceNow through the web API. Right, so let's get on to the main event, product categorization. What is the big deal? Where is the business value for me, the end user? Well, hopefully the demonstration later on will help visualize what this might mean for you personally, but globally, data is now viewed as one of the most valuable commodities to businesses today. It drives insights that help formulate all types of business strategy, so it stands to reason that if you can further augment or enrich the data that you already collect, greater insights and potential efficiencies should follow as a natural consequence. In direct relation to IT software and hardware, true depth of detail is often lacking, which, particularly in terms of software, can lead to questionable decision-making when selecting and buying, often resulting in unnecessary expenditure or certainly a higher cost to our businesses. In order to make full use of the data, that is, to understand what types of software are in use and installed, it's essential to make accessing it intuitive and predictable. This can only really be achieved by classifying or categorizing using a recognized and consistent standard. Yes, of course, other naming conventions will in all likelihood be accurate to a degree. Certainly there are many cases where interpretation can be applied. But even for basic internal querying by us and other end users or other end user stakeholders or serving that data to other systems, it's logical to adopt a standard that is universally recognized. So we have chosen the United Nations Standard Products and Services Code, or UNSPSC. Admittedly, the acronym doesn't really roll off the tongue, But this standard has groupings of category where a generic category family grouping, for example, finance and accounting and the ERP, can be broken down into more detailed families such as accounting software, ERP software, tax preparation software, financial analysis software, and time accounting software. So those 5 products group into the one description. Each category also has its own numerical code. Each considered title has its own nomenclature, and it's also very good and has a very good and detailed description of each title, which proves crucial when querying the data. There's a web URL here, so please feel free to look it up, and you'll see why we thought it was so important to adopt this standard rather than the others that are out there. Right, so what immediate opportunities might you see from understanding what categories of software you have deployed? Well, software rationalization is huge in mature businesses. The ability to standardize and reduce the number of software titles for a category affords many cost-saving opportunities, not just in terms of bargaining power, but also the support overhead. It is also one of the key activities within organizations who grow through merger and acquisition. Classification of software deployments is like gold dust, and the ability to do it automatically, irrespective of discovery source, saves days, as does the ability to do this on an ongoing basis so that progress of that migration can be monitored. Interesting insights into spend or compliance can also be gleaned, which of course is now supplemented with the very real knowledge of free of charge or potentially surplus alternatives we already hold within the business. And that can offer true up saving opportunities. It can also feature at the very start of your procurement process. So a requester can be fed a list of alternative products to their original request. Some may be freeware, some may be those surplus alternatives that we've talked about, or at the very least, a lower cost offering. We can give the end user requester that information, that power to make those decisions for us. The data can lead them to other users of that product in order to obtain an actual trusted review of the software. As you can see, categorization can be a massive influence on your software strategy. Anomalies can be easily seen and usage challenged or deployments challenged, such as, why would marketing have any accountancy software? Why would our kiosk users have developer tools? And we're only really just scratching the surface of the potential of this layer of information. So how exactly do you apply categories to your data? If we just think back to that how our platform works slide where the infographic showed the data coming in from all sources, we are tool agnostic. So if you don't want to use any of our discovery solutions, and why would you if you already have something out there collecting that data, we simply extract file information from those systems that are in place. We talk to those databases. We then match the file descriptions to a normalized alias within our dictionary, and this is done in the cleanse phase, where that file description inherits all of the intelligence held within our database and our dictionaries, as well as the clean title of that description. Again, why would you just stop there? It's also important to have your personal organizational context applied too. And License Manager is the home for that, which offers the how, the where, the why, and when capability for initiating these insights. So product categorization at first glance looks to be one of the many cogs in the data enhancement wheel, and to a degree it is, but its value and potential impact should not be underestimated. Every additional layer of intelligence multiplies the value of that data. And when you can report by any combination of, say, 30 plus different attributes of software install, great insights can actually be drawn from that analysis. So on to the demonstration. And that's going to be showing product categorization within License Manager. It is in 2 other areas of the product family as well. but we have some new reports that automatically inherit those product categorization descriptions. So we have number one, the category summary, where we feature the code, the category title for the UNSPSC code. We list the number of unique product titles, the total number of installs, and where there is a cost associated, the total cost as well. We also include the very lengthy description of that category that gets provided by the UNSPSC. And what we're able to do within the system here is do an alphanumeric search and look at categories with the most unique product titles. Now, this is one of the key areas where we can consolidate and rationalize our software. So if we're looking at desktop publishing software, we can see here we have 75 unique product titles. What we're able to do within the system is to then drill down into those titles, and we can see everything that we've got in here within the system. And again, there could be opportunities to look at those, to consolidate and to rationalize, to bargain with vendors, to use our buying power and transfer from one vendor to another because of the software titles that we have deployed. Going back to the category summary as well. We can then also search by alphanumeric store for the install count, or also for the cost. So we can see where our spend is amongst all of those categories. So if I just filter on here and just give it a second, we can see how much we're spending on network software, how much we're spending on platform interconnectivity software. And again, we've got the ability to drill down into that data and to understand it. But one of the key things about how the data is presented is the ability for all types of end users to search that data. So I might not well know the category of a piece of software, but what is good for me is to be able to challenge that data. So for example, if I wanted to look at compression software, I can do a search on a product, and I can look at WinZip. With the correct filters applied, of course. And I can see that WinZip is a utility and device software, and also compression software. So what I'm able to do as an end user is to go back into the system and to look for alternatives to that. So I can go to, I can just clear these filters. And this should show the importance of this category description, where the description or the software title or the software name for the end user might not be apparent in the category title, but it will certainly be there in the category description. So if I just put in a partial word, sorry, just one second. Of zip. It will show me all of the category titles that have zip in the description. It will show me all of the manufacturers. It will show me all of the products. And it gives me, as an end user, the ability to see the alternatives that I might request. It will also tell me the cost of those, and it will tell me whether they're freeware, it will tell me whether they're licensable or not. And we're also able to understand which other users might have it deployed and for what purpose. And we can go and talk to them and see whether it does the job for them or not. Okay. very short product demonstration there. So how do our licensed dashboard partners and customers access that data? Well, as we said, it's going to be available through 3 elements of our platform, one of which is License Manager, that I've just shown you how that's used. And I suppose this is probably the part of the webinar where people are thinking, what's it going to cost? And will the value of the data really justify that cost? Well, good news. The cost is nothing to existing users of our platform with active maintenance. It's not even a chargeable add-on option for new customers. It simply comes available through our platform. We've seen in the demonstration the simple reporting capabilities and power that's going to be provided within License Manager. And fundamentally, we know a great deal can be done within that application, exporting it to Excel, etc. The intellectual property is built into our License Manager dictionaries. So again, active maintenance will simply keep your data up to date. And we expect this release, License Manager 11.4, to be within the next month. If you need greater exploration of the data for trends and insights, this is going to be available in the presentation and business intelligence layer, License Dashboard Portal. So existing portal users will get some new apps and tiles currently under development. Again, no charge if you have an active subscription. These tiles and apps will be available in the next 90 days or so. And of course, Web API subscribers can feed this new data, this enhanced, this enriched data into any system of their choosing, again, at no additional cost. And the release of the API able to transmit this additional data should coincide with the release of License Manager 11.4. The offer I mentioned at the start, if this is of interest to anyone who wants to test the waters of our categorization capability, we will perform a free of charge categorization review of your software estate. So if you've got a discovery tool, if you think back to the infographic, SCCM, Snow, Map, Landesk, Landsweeper, Manage Engine, Casper, Alteryx, our own dashboard discovery, great. We will take a small feed from that. No installation required. Alternatively, we'll happily provide a short key for our agentless discovery system, ScanWin, to perform that data mining exercise. Please don't be concerned over any sensitive data. Again, no problem. We're not going to require asset names. We're not going to require usernames, IP addresses, anything that might be deemed sensitive. We'll simply cleanse and enhance the data that we take out of your system with the LD dictionaries and produce a complementary report of your deployment estate with a focus on your software category topology. Method to do that, obviously we'll reach out to everybody at the end of this webinar, but feel free, if you haven't heard from us any time soon, to reach out and contact info@licensedashboard.co.uk or contact us on any of those numbers that you can see below. And I guess no questions have come up through the chat. Let me just see, can I? So if anybody's got any questions, please raise your hands. We'll happily unmute. Okay, well, I guess that's it for today. But again, we do have those mechanisms. If you want to hear more, if you want to speak to your account manager or to me, or indeed take us up on the offer, then please don't hesitate to respond to any of our marketing communications. Oh, we do have Yes. Okay. So we've got a question come through. Is the categorization a single tier or two-tiered? So it is multiple tiered. So at the beginning of the webinar, I talked about finance and ERP software as a grouping, and then all of the analysis types of software below. So yes, it is two-tiered. Thank you very much for that question. So yep, at that point, in lieu of any other questions, very grateful for your time today. Please feel free to reach out if you need anything from us, and we will be more than happy to help. Thank you.